The wreckage of the new and unplanned out Star Wars trilogy had many casualties. One of those casualties was the possible romance between Finn and Rey that began in Star Wars The Force Awakens, the semi-remake of Star Wars A New Hope. The current Star Wars trilogy is missing many things, one of them being love. The lost romance could have given the trilogy that missing element. In this video, I will be discussing the beginnings of that key element in Star Wars The Force Awakens, its absence in Star Wars The Last Jedi, and what it could have done for this trilogy if it had been continued and brought to fruition. I've broken up this analysis into 7 points. Let's begin. Point 1. Attraction at first sight. Finn was enamored with Rey the moment he looked up at her from the sands of Jakku. He wanted to stay near her, impress her, e.g. Finn saying, "I'm with the Resistance," twice to Rey, seeing the effect that it had on her. Finn humorously treated her with affection from the outset, e.g. Finn taking Rey's hand when soldiers showed up and Rey saying, "I know how to run without you holding my hand." Point 2. Lying to stay close while impressing. In fiction and in real life, guys try to impress girls that they like, and Finn was no different. On the Falcon, in one of the funniest and most endearing moments in the film, Finn convinces BB-8 to help him in his cause of pretending to be with the Resistance to stay with Rey a little longer. Point 3. The Tavern Confession, Solo's advice, and the way Rey listened. When Solo and Finn have a brief man-to-man conversation where Han tells Finn, women always figure out the truth. Always. The resultant conversation between Finn and Rey is their first heart-to-heart. Rey listens solemnly as Finn spills his guts, revealing himself fully to Rey for the first time. It's his most emotionally vulnerable moment with Rey in the entire film. Point 4. Finn traveling to Starkiller Base to rescue Rey. When Finn shows up at Starkiller Base, and Han tells Rey that the rescue was Finn's idea, Finn receives a hug, one of gratitude, friendship, and comradeship. Was there more in that hug? Who knows? That's in Rey's mind and Finn's mind. Did Finn like his ambiguous, unsought reward? I'm sure of one thing. He didn't dislike it. Point 5. Rey crying over knocked out Finn and kissing his forehead in the medical capsule. The depth of Finn and Rey's friendship and their connection became apparent in the third act of The Force Awakens when Finn was injured, Rey defeated Kylo, and Rey dropped to her knees and cried over unconscious Finn. That type of emotional reaction is born of mental attachment, no matter the type of attachment, and it burst wide open with Rey, just like it did with Andrea when she was bitten by a zombie, and Michonne burst into tears when she found out on The Walking Dead. At the end of The Force Awakens, Rey's forehead kiss was like when Luke Skywalker put his arm around Leia at the end of Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. Similar to Rey's Starkiller Base hug, the kiss spoke of fidelity, compassion, and affection. Point 6. The romance thrown away. In The Last Jedi, all of that emotional groundwork and subtext between Finn and Rey was thrown out and completely ignored. As a fan of the aforementioned storyline in The Force Awakens, this was completely inconceivable and a fruitless narrative decision by director Rian Johnson. Point 7. What we got instead. The lost romance between Rey and Finn is one of the many tragedies of the current Star Wars trilogy. The lost romance could have given fans something to look forward to in each episode of the new trilogy, as it did in the original Star Wars trilogy between Leia and Han. Instead, when The Last Jedi premiered, Rey and Finn were kept apart for almost the entire film, and a vapid Finn and Rose storyline, created out of the blue with zero foundation or anticipatory feelings surrounding it, replaced the budding Finn-Rey storyline. What in the world was director Rian Johnson thinking with this plot choice? Though the same question could be asked of almost all of his choices regarding The Last Jedi. In The Last Jedi, the first thing that Finn thought about or spoke of was Rey. With all of that in mind, how does a new girl supplant the amorous feelings that Finn felt towards Rey, especially after all he and Rey have been through together? Rose's kiss was sweet, sincere, and dramatically timed, but it was minuscule in the face of Rey's emotional and physical dominance within Finn's mind, and the mind controls the body after all. How many times had Finn thought about kissing Rey, holding Rey in his arms, etc.? The hope of romance between Finn and Rey hadn't even been extinguished when Rose kissed Finn. In point of fact, the possibility hadn't even been broached or explored by Finn. The Last Jedi would have the viewer believe that Finn would throw away all of those hopes, feelings, and unrequited acts involving Rey for a nearly complete stranger that he'd met only a day ago. This was an extremely hard plot point to accept and to digest, but it was no orphan in The Last Jedi. There were many other plot points of this pedigree in the film. When The Last Jedi was initially announced, some fans like me wanted to see Finn and Rey grow closer through more shared adventures, like in The Force Awakens. In the episode that followed The Last Jedi, some fans like me wanted to see a key possibility to be on the table. I wanted to see Rey's feelings for Finn used against her. I wanted to see Rey grow enraged when Kylo took Finn away from Rey on screen in Episode 3, driving Rey to a fate that no one expected. The dark side is one of those fates, one of those possibilities. If the lost romance had been in place during this trilogy, it would have given Rey something tangible to fight for, something easily understandable and relatable. Love. Not some nebulous group of freedom fighters that she just met that are fighting an even more nebulous bad guy organization. Instead, with this Star Wars trilogy, starting with The Last Jedi, we got the lost romance. And all the opportunities that would have sprung up because of that plot line tossed out the airlock, while General Leia blew in through it. Those are my thoughts on the lost romance. What are yours? Do you think that this Star Wars trilogy could have used a good love story? What do you think? Leave your thoughts on this video below in the comments section. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button if you like this video. Smash the subscribe button and click the bell icon so you can be notified when new posts or new videos are created and put online. If you would like to support this type of content, please consider becoming one of this channel's patrons on Patreon. You'll find that link below in the description of this video. You can also find more video content and the latest film and TV show news on our website, FilmBook. That's film-book.com. You'll find that link below in the description as well. Until next time, I'll see you then.